morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, February 2nd, 2018. It is Groundhog Day. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker. J-Book, safe to say we need spring to come fast in Columbus more than you need it to come really fast down there in Arizona.
Yeah, I hope you guys get some warm weather here pretty soon, but maybe a little bit here. It's starting to get a little too hot too fast for us.
We'll see. I don't know if the Groundhogs saw its shadow this morning. We'll find out about that nonsense later. But let's delve into some Ohio State recruiting first of all. I think for a while it looked like Chris Oates from Winton Woods, outside linebacker, could play defensive end. Looked like he was trending Ohio State's way. Now it doesn't look like that's the case. I think it's probably a grades issue or maybe a space issue. I'm sure if the Buckeyes wanted him, they could get him in this class. But just give me your thoughts on the Chris Oates situation.
Yeah, everything that I've gathered from that situation is strictly grades with him. It's just the way the situation is shaking out, it doesn't look like he'll be able to get into Ohio State. You saw a flurry of crystal balls over the last 24 hours toward Kentucky. Oates was scheduled to make an official visit to Ohio State. Now, one thing that people need to realize is when it comes to taking official visits, one of the rules with the NCAA is the school needs to have your up-to-date grades transcripts to verify, where you're at standing-wise before they can get you onto campus for those official visits. So that situation with him getting his visit canceled tells me that there's something with his grades. But I wish him nothing but the best. The guy wanted to be a Buckeye. He didn't take care of the business that he needed to early on in his prep career, and all indications are it looks like he'll be headed to Kentucky. The one thing that interests me is Ohio State was looking to potentially add him to this class if he was able to qualify. Did they turn down? Will they bank this spot for 2019, or will they try to find another under-the-radar type of gym that they had their eye on?
Another in-state kid that's been on Ohio State's radar for a long time, and also grades were thought to be the issue, Tavion Thomas. Oates, looks like Thomas will be a Buckeye. Now, maybe he won't qualify and he'll have to go the JUCO route or prep school or something like that, but bottom line, it looks like the Dayton Dunbar running back, and I know he can play middle linebacker too. It sounds like he's going to be a Buckeye to me. What do you think, J-Book?
I think he will be. I know Alex Lightman on the board has said that he's very suspicious about him qualifying. I know some other people have taken to the board who knows him and from the high school ranks said that they would be very, very surprised if he was able to clear the clearinghouse and get through Ohio State admissions. But all indications are that Ohio State's looking to try to stash him. A lot of people asked the question, why would they take 3 running backs? He's a major talent now. If they can get him to Fork Union or one of the military prep schools or a JUCO and allow him to get his grades up and further continue to develop his body, I think he could be a nice addition to this actual class. So all indications are he's going to be a Buckeye. And I think there was a situation where Ohio State, they've been monitoring his progress and his situation for a while now because at first they wanted Maurice Washington, and then they came back and asked Washington, was he willing to play corner? And then there was great issues with him. And then the next day, the news broke that Kerry Combs was headed to the Tennessee Titans. But I think that change of heart from Washington being a potential running back recruit has to do with the development of Thomas. They think that they can go bash him. And for Thomas, you just don't decommit from a powerhouse like Oklahoma if you don't suspect that he's going to be a Buckeye in the end.
Rasheed Walker's playing it very close to the vest. High 4-star offensive tackle, obviously, out of Maryland. Seems like no one, outside of his inner circle, maybe people in his inner circle don't even know, but certainly recruiting analysts it seems like a 50-50 deal. If you had to lean one way or the other, where do you think Rasheed Walker's going to end up?
My gut feeling, and I've said it for the last several weeks, is I think he ends up at Ohio State. I think the relationship that he's established with the current Ohio State commits are strong. When you have Urban Meyer in a 50-50 battle down the stretch here with him also getting the opportunity to do his in-home visit, I think this bodes well for the Buckeyes. I will put my money on Urban Meyer winning a 50-50 battle down the stretch before signing day, any day of the week, and chances are you would make tremendous amount of profit off that. So I think he will be a Buckeye. It's going to be close, but one thing I have to say about him is I'm very impressed about how little news is leaking out in regards to him after his official visit to Ohio State. And as you mentioned, they're keeping it very close to the vest. So they're doing a very good job going through the actual process. But in the end, my gut tells me it will be the Buckeyes for him with a major win over Penn State.
Let's switch gears now and go over some of the interesting topics we've had on the front row message board the last couple of days. I find this one interesting. I was asked this on a radio show. I'm going to ask you the same question. If you had to pick like the most indispensable or the most important member of Urban Meyer's coaching staff, who would that be?
For this current year, this current coaching staff, or throughout his career?
For 2018.
For 2018. I would definitely say Ryan Day. I think Day is a guy that the Ohio State staff definitely had to have back, considering the transition to a new quarterback that is very raw, very young, but uberly talented. I think Day is a guy that they couldn't afford to lose. A guy that I think that if he left, it would be a blow, but Ohio State would be able to maintain is Greg Schiano. I know with Grinch coming in and looks like he's going to be taking over the defense, I still have my suspicion that Greg Schiano could be headed to an NFL job after National Signing Day. It's been mysteriously quiet on that front, but I think if they lose him, I think they can absorb the blow. But I think Ryan Day losing him would have been absolutely crucial, especially when you have quarterbacks that you're trying to break in and a team that has the potential to make a legitimate national championship run, considering all of the talent that has come back.
This topic is polarizing, and I get it, but I want to tackle it. A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with the 10th coach, and a lot of people are like, find the best coach possible, and I get that. I don't think Ohio State can have a situation where they have 10 assistant coaches and only 2 minority assistant coaches. When you're trying to recruit 16, 17-year-old kids, you look at other programs that have filled their 10th coach, a lot of programs have 4 minority coaches on their staff. Give me your thoughts on that. You think I'm off base? You think Urban's probably targeting a minority coach for this 10th assistant spot on the staff, or no?
He could be, but at the end of the day, you want to have the best qualified coach possible. I mean, if you get a rock star coach and he's not a minority, are you going to turn him down for a guy that doesn't bring the type of credentials that he brings to the table? I don't think you would. I mean, in a perfect world, yes, you would want to have a nice balance of minorities, considering that the bulk of your football program is going to be made up of minority athletes, and Ohio State heavily recruits in the South, and you're essentially telling these kids you're going to be like a second father to them, and you're trusting mothers, and a lot of kids come from, broken households, and they're going to be relying on that position coach to be somewhat of a father figure. So it does help to have some minorities on the coaching staff, but at the end of the day, you want to fill your coaching staff with the best coach possible. I don't care if he comes from Mars and he's green. Can he coach defensive backs? Can he develop them? Can he help this football program beat Alabama when the game matters? That's all I care about. But in the perfect world, you want to have some type of balance, considering the bulk of your roster is going to be made up of minorities. I know it's a touchy, delicate situation, but Urban Meyer, he's the type of guy that carries he swings such a big stick, and Ohio State program speaks for itself as far as the results, the development of young men, getting them to the next level as far as the NFL, as well as the next level when it comes to the job force. I think that leaves a solid foundation for Ohio State to be able to go out and try to find the best possible coach for the position.
I agree with you. If Bill Belichick wants to come and join the staff, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that as the 10th assistant coach, and being a little facetious there. But, all things being equal, I'll be very surprised if Urban Meyer doesn't hire a minority coach. We'll see what happens, and I think that's probably going to come down the pike probably soon after signing day, if I had to guess. I'll be surprised at this point if they announce it before signing day, which is now just 5 days away. So we'll see what happens there. Before I let you go, real quick basketball topic. I find this interesting. I threw this out there. Do the Buckeyes in basketball have a true arch rival?
That is a great question. I would say not a true arch rival. You could probably say Indiana will probably be the closest one. I know some people would say Michigan is going to be Ohio State's arch rival in all sports. I don't know how true that is when it comes to basketball. So if I had to say they have a true arch rival, I would say it's Indiana. But because of the inconsistencies of the basketball program, it's really hard to get into a rivalry type of matchup, especially in the Big Ten when it's also up and down. But if I had to say if they had a true rival, I would say Indiana over Michigan.
I don't think they have a rival. I'm with you. I mean, if we have to kind of think about it, that probably means they don't have a true arch rival. But they're going to kind of remind me of Penn State in football, where Penn State looks at Ohio State as their main rival, and Ohio State obviously does not reciprocate. Or Notre Dame in football, where Notre Dame might look at USC as their main rival, but USC's main rival is UCLA. So it's interesting. Speaking of the men's basketball team, they will play Super Bowl Sunday. It's a good way to kick off Super Bowl Sunday at noon here in Columbus at the Shot, hosting Illinois. That'll be televised by FS1, so noon Eastern time on Sunday. Good way to kick off Super Bowl Sunday with the basketball Buckeyes taking on the Fighting Illini. Thank you very much to the wisdom of Jonah Booker. Really appreciate it, J-Book. You can follow him on Twitter at JBook37. You can catch his column every week on Bucknuts. It is outside Columbus. So thank you, as always, to J-Book, and thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning in to the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best air band in the land.
Fire, 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 fire.